officially 6 o'clock. Good afternoon, and I will be the chair of this portion of the meeting. Okay, at this time, let's stand for a moment of silence, and we will follow by the Pledge of Allegiance. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have officially called this school board organizational meeting to order, and our first order of business will be the election of a chair to serve for 1 year's term. And at this time, I will hear nominations from the floor, or how would we?
That's right, yes, ma'am.
We will hear nominations from the floor. And when I say the floor, I mean the board members.
I would like to ask Mr. Alford if he would continue to lead us.
I don't have an issue with that, but I want to offer it to Ms. Bell or Mr. Carroll if they would like to be it. I don't want anyone to think that you haven't had an opportunity.
You're doing a good job.
I hadn't been here but 1 year, so I don't know enough to be sitting up there yet, so
You're good.
I'm
Okay,
good with you.
I'll be glad to do it. I just didn't want someone to feel like they haven't had that chance.
We have another person over there. You all figure her.
I'm happy with your, what
Well,
you've
Ms.
been.
Gibson's been it before,
Yeah.
but they've never
And-
been the chair before.
Okay, at
If
this
you're willing
time-
to do it, I'm happy to have you continue doing it.
Okay, at this time, I would entertain an official motion.
I'll make the motion that Mr. Bart Alford continue as our board chairman.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. It has been properly moved and second that Mr. Bart Alford will serve as board chair for the 21-22 school year, calendar year. Are we ready for the question? Yes. All in favor of Mrs. Alford serving as the board chair, let me know by aye. Okay, so Mr. Bart Alford will be official our board chair for the next year, next 12 months. Okay, continue along the line, I need a vice chair. I need a motion for a vice chair. I have 4 other people, I need a motion for a vice chair.
I make the motion for Ms. Bell to be the vice chair.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that Ms. Bell would serve as the vice chair for the next year. Okay, all in favor of the said motion, Mrs. Bell serving as the vice chair, let me know by aye.
Aye.
And opposes? Great. Our next point of business during this section of the meeting is that we need to do school board a committee. We decided to do a committee appointment, so all during the year we won't be looking at that. Because we won't be doing it at the last minute. Mr. Alford, since you have your computer, will you read those committees off?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
It's coming up, I'm sorry.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the Value Adjustment Board, which is 1 board member and 1 business owner.
As
Actually,
we reading
I was
those,
on that
okay,
last
we're gonna read all the way through them, and as we reading through, think of the one that you want to serve, because we want equal opportunity for all. So we've got our Value Adjustment Board,
The Legislative Board,
our Legislative Board,
the Chamber of Commerce,
Chamber of Commerce, Fisbit,
and Small School District Council Consortium representative.
okay. So we've got 5 board members, we have 5 different boards. Now, if you were serving on the board last year and you're comfortable doing that again this year?
I am.
Okay, Mr. Carroll, which board is that?
Value adjustment.
Value Adjustment Board, okay. Okay,
I am also Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Bell,
And I'll continue with Fisbit.
Fisbit,
I was last year the legislative and the Small School District Council Consortium representative.
okay. And late in the year, we voted on a business owner. Do we want to reappoint that person?
We can, I mean,
You have
if
to-
she were
you
to,
have to ask them.
we would need to ask. I don't know that
Okay.
the value adjustment's met yet for this year.
We did,
You've already met?
yes. We had an organizational meeting, and then, we had a meeting, well, we had an organizational meeting at the meeting that somebody had, but they filed after the deadline, so.
Okay, what time of the year do y'all normally meet?
Well, next year we're gonna meet in March. This year it was in like
October, November.
October. But we decided to meet in March next year for the first organizational meeting.
Okay, we can table the business owner and we'll talk with her and have that back on the agenda for next week.
Okay.
Okay, so what I have right now for our Value Adjustment Board, Mr. Frankie Carroll. For our Legislative Board, Mr. Bart Alford. For our Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Sharette Bell. The Fisbit representative, Ms. Gibson. And for the Small School District Council Consortium, Mr. Bart Alford. Okay, can I have a motion to approve this slate of board members,
I move to approve the
committee members?
members being in charge of those committees. Is that, yeah? Yeah.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by Ms. Gibson, second by Ms. Bell, that we approve the members as noted for the various committees for the ensuing year. All in favor? Opposes? Okay, we have our members for next year. Our last order of agenda is we need to look at our regular meeting schedule. This is our tentative meeting schedule. This does not say that we cannot add another meeting because we know during AFR time, we will be adding some members, but our standard meeting, I am proposing that we remain our standard meeting the first and third Monday of each month. Are we good with that?
Yes.
Okay, that's our standard meeting. And if you will look at the proposed dates,
So we have 2 exceptions to the Monday.
okay, we've got 2 exceptions to the three exceptions to the Monday. The first exception would be January 18th, and January 17th is MLK, which is always on a Monday, and we choose to meet on that Tuesday because school is closed that day. Our next day is, that's an exception, is February the 22nd, and Monday is a President's Day, so we choose to meet on that Tuesday. Our next exception is July 5th, because July 4th is on a Monday, and that's a sacred. Okay, I'm not down there yet. Okay, July 5th, and that's going to be on a Tuesday, because we want to give you time to celebrate the birth of our nation. And the next Tuesday will be September 6th, because we choose also to recognize and honor Labor Day. Those are the exceptions to the rules. That's Tuesday. One other thing I need you to make a decision about, and you have a calendar at your desk. Okay, it's on your notepad. March 21st or March 28th. The standard meeting time will be March 21st. That's the beginning of spring break, and the school, we will, even 12-month employees will be closed, will be off that entire week. But I feel that we need to meet a little bit more often, more than once a month during this time of year, because that's the time we're getting ready, all geared up for the next school year, because about the 1st of April, we've got to make recommendations on whether we want to continue and people to return. And so do we want to meet on the 21st or the 28th?
The 21st is fine with me.
That's spring.
That's the first day of spring
But we
break.
could do either one, either way.
Mr. Carroll, you have spring break?
I don't have spring break, but I think probably the best thing to do would be the 28th, just because of, you know, the people at, you
Yeah.
know,
Employees.
Miss Bishop, she'll be off. and Miss-
That's, I think I go along with Mr. Carroll on that.
Okay, I have two people for the 28th.
28th 's fine.
Okay, so the majority rule, and so the next day will be the 28th, March 28th.
So March 20th.
Okay, and so, you've got your meeting date scheduled for the next calendar year.
Okay, in November, our second meeting will be also a Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am. The 15th is a Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay,
And-
next year, because the state law says your organizational meeting has to be on a certain date, and so the organizational meeting will be on a Tuesday.
And then the list on the website has January 4th on there, but we're not doing a meeting the first in January, right?
No, I thought,
Well, I'm looking at it.
Me too.
okay. I'm sorry, we removed January 4th, because we're gonna be meeting December the 18th. No, we're gonna be meeting December 20th.
December
That's
20th.
right.
And we're gonna be off for 2 weeks, and, it wouldn't be feasible to come back to a meeting date, so the January 4th date is off. I printed it off. Okay, you have your dates, can I have a motion for approval?
I made the motion to approve the meeting dates.
Second?
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Bell, second by Ms. Williamson, to approve the proposed meeting dates as presented. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposes? So we've got our meeting dates. At this time, if we have nothing else to come before this meeting, this part of this meeting will be officially adjourned. And welcome aboard, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pass back the gavel.
Oh, meeting adjourned.
Okay, I would like to welcome each of you to tonight's meeting. Welcome to the meeting tonight on November the 15th, 2021, to the Madison County School Board. The school board meeting is officially called to order. The school board meeting is an advertised meeting held in the public, not a public meeting. We have a set advertised agenda that will be followed. Anyone wishing to address the board may do so during the public input section of the meeting. You will have 3 minutes to address the board. The sign-in sheet to speak during public input is on the table to the left as you enter the boardroom. Please sign in if you wish to speak. Our school board minutes are being recorded this evening by Ms. Bishop, the confidential secretary and secretary to the superintendent. Board members present are Mr. Carroll, Ms. Bell, Ms. Gibson, Ms. Williamson, and myself, Bart Alford. Our attorney, Mr. Reeves, is also present, and Superintendent Joseph is present. At this time, the meeting is called to order. Is there any public input? No? Okay, there's no public input tonight. The first item on the agenda is 1.2. It's a presentation by the Florida School Board Association, Ms. Tina Pinkinson.
Good evening.
It is a pleasure to be here in Madison County once again. Ms. Bell, I will tell you that in December at the FSBA conference, we hold a chairmanship meeting. If you want to come and get prepared to be the vice chair, you are more than welcome to come and join us. So it really does thrill my soul to be here today. As you know, you heard Bart and I talking earlier, we were both elected to the school board at the same time in 2002. And he's toughened it out a little bit longer than I did. I decided in 2010 not to run again. But he has always been a fixture at FSBA events, at conferences, at certified board member trainings, at any forums that we have and through our master board. And Bart would attend but not fill out his forms so he could become a certified board member. And so knowing Bart and, you know, the leader that he is, Carolyn Sanders in the office and myself started to put a little bit of pressure on him to become a certified board member. And Carolyn worked with Bart to go back and look at the things that he had attended, and she tonight wants to send her congratulations. She said if she drove in the dark, she would be here. Because she's just as thrilled as I am that Bart has taken that step and become a certified board member. And all this does is tell the public that you are willing to go through professional development to learn more so that you can be the very best school board member that you can be. And so it is with great, great pleasure that I am going to present this plaque to Mr. Bart Alford as a certified board member. It took 19 years, but we are there, and I have his certified board member pin, and I expect when you are down in Tampa that this is going to be worn prominently on your lapel. So, congratulations. Can I get somebody to take a picture for me? I gotta tweet this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Thank you so much. There you go. Thank you. You need probably for me the wide angle lens here. Thank you so much. Thank you. And congratulations.
I just want to thank Ms. Pinkinson and the Florida School Board Association that no one really knows how much they're there for board members until you go through a bad time. And she has been there for us the past many years, and most recently, the last few years, she really was there with us through everything we went through. And again, I can't say enough from what she did, Ms. Messina did, the whole Florida School Board Association. So we are very thankful to belong to such a great organization, and I'm glad I was able to get this and take the next step. But we do appreciate what all you did and what Ms. Messina did, and just the guidance and leadership that we were given at that time in our district. So thank you.
Thank you.
So again, thank you for coming tonight, and a lot of good memories.
A lot of good memories when I see Mr. Bill here. A lot of good memories.
We first met, Ms. Williamson and I were on the board in 2003 in Gainesville at a master board training. Madison, Alachua, and Leon County were together, and that's when we first met Tina, and she was a board member then. And just ever since then, we've seen each other at conferences and just a real nice friendship. But we do appreciate all you've done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Drive back Gainesville.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for taking a picture.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to amend the agenda to move item 2.1, discussion of space at Madison County High School, to item number 5.6. So 2.1 will be moved to 5.6. Okay,
And Mr. Chairman, if I could ask
Yes, sir.
4.5 to be pulled off consent so that we can discuss it.
Okay, 4.5 is going to be moved to 5.7. Contract with rite of passage. Is there any clarifications on what's been pulled? Okay, for the consent items, 4.1 is the minutes from the November the 1st workshop and the November the 1st meeting. 4.2 is the career pathways with North Florida College. 4.3 is the memorandum of understanding with the Disc Village. 4.4 is administrative recommendation for Travis Blue as the coordinator of safety and operational service and maintenance from January the 1st, 2022 through June the 30th, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
I move to approve the consent items.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bell. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor of the consent items, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of consent items. 5.1, personnel changes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This evening, we have one name that you can see that we're recommending, and unfortunately, we have one name that also is a resignation. I should, next board meeting, have you some more names as far as recommendation. Do you want to vote on that, or do you want me to go ahead with the hospital homebound as well?
We can include the hospital
Okay.
homebound with
And then,
personnel.
as you can see, we have one person that we'd like to recommend for the hospital homebound as well, if I could, please.
Okay, is there a motion for the personnel changes?
I
I'll
move
make the
to,
motion to approve the personnel changes and the hospital homebound recommendation.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor of the personnel changes in the hospital homebound instructor, please show a hand. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of personnel changes in the hospital homebound instructor.
Thank you.
Thank you. 5.2, field trips. We have Lee Elementary Pre-K going to Home Field Advantage Farmstead on 11/18/2021 from 9:15 to 10:45. There's 14 students and 2 chaperones. It's in Lee, Florida. Greenville Elementary K through 5 is going to the movie Encanto. Their standard that's being used is how good citizens improve their community. It will be in the AMC Theater in Tallahassee, and it is December the 8th, I think, that they're going, or 12th. It wasn't on there, but I think I remember it was December the... Is there a motion to approve the field trips?
I make the motion to approve the field trips.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell, seconded by Ms. Gibson. Any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor, show of hand. Opposed? Okay, it's 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval for the field trips. 5.3, school volunteers.
At
Mr.
this time, they did not get the papers turned in time, and so we don't have any to present to you.
Okay. 5.4, the instructional continuity plan. Ms. Hill, and at this time, we will open it for a public hearing.
Thank you. One of the things that we found out in order to qualify for the next round of ESSER money, or the American Recovery funds, is we must give parents an opportunity to have input on our instructional continuity plan. There's been a lot of questions about the instructional continuity plans. The DOE contracted with a company to help districts write their instructional continuity plans. They worked with us. They gave us the template that we have used. And basically what you have in front of you is an instructional continuity plan that would work in a wide variety of situations, not just in the case of COVID. And so, you know, when we worked on this, we looked at it in terms of if we had a hurricane come through and we, you know, demolished a school, you know, what would we do? How would we continue to provide educational services to students when they couldn't go, you know, to school? We looked at, you know, a wide variety of things that we could possibly have to prepare for. And so what you have in that continuity plan there is just a kind of a general plan that we would have in place if something happened and it interrupted our ability to provide educational services for our students. So that's what you have before you, or that's what we gave to you a couple weeks ago. And DOE wants input from parents, or wants to give parents the opportunity for input. And so that's why, you know, we've put it out for parents. If they want to have input, they're more than welcome to come to the board at this meeting or at your next meeting to be able to, you know, give input. But I don't think we have any public input tonight.
Okay, at this time, we have it open for public input. Okay, if there's no public input, we are closing the advertisement, the hearing. So is there a motion to approve the instructional continuity plan again?
Are they going to have the opportunity next time, Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
so
we will do
we'll-
it next time.
Yes, yes, sir.
So it'll be publicly advertised for the 30 days? Okay. So. Okay, 5.5, sorry about that. The purchase of 3 additional school buses, 2 77-passenger buses at $223,494 for the total for both, and 1 47-passenger bus with a lift for the total of $111,294. So that would be 3 buses.
If I can.
Yes, sir.
And Madam Superintendent, that's the state contract price, so we don't have to.
This is the state contract price.
We are in desperate need of buses. In talking to some of the bus drivers, and of course in the letter that Ms. Cootie had written us back concerning the drivers and the repairs that were needed on certain buses. I mean, we're in need of buses, so if we have the money to do it, we need to do it, because at some point we're going to wake up and not have buses and then be in a predicament of getting students to school. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of the buses?
I move to approve the purchase of 3 additional school buses.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Williamson. Any discussion?
Just to add on to what you said, Mr. Alfred, we do need good, reliable, safe buses that are in good repair also.
Right. And in talking with one of the bus drivers, I was stopped in Winn-Dixie, and he was telling me about all the ones that are in need of, like, how they're robbing from bus to like fix buses that are broke down. At some point, that's all will catch up with us, and we're going to be without. So we do need them. I mean, it's something that's well overdue. Any other discussion?
Well, I
concerning-
talked to Mr. Noel.
That's who I spoke with.
Yeah, I talked to him today. And Ms. Cootie brought it to our attention, about the lack of drivers, and then we're gonna be losing some more drivers, and so, we're gonna vote to get 3 new buses, and we ain't gonna have nobody to drive them.
But when we gonna think positive, when we do find someone to drive them, we will have something for them to drive.
We gonna have to do something for our bus drivers to get some people, cause, whether it's, I don't know what it is, I know I would not drive a bus for $10 an hour, I can tell you that now. I don't know, and that's what I was told it was making. That's just, I couldn't do it. But anyway, that don't have anything to do with buses. I was gonna bring that up at the end, because I talked with Mr. Noel today, and they looking at losing 3 or 4 more by the first of the year of drivers, and, our one, getting kids to school safely is is big time, so, we're gonna have to come up with some kind of way to because I'm gonna start my training so I can help them when they need some help, but, I don't know, but we need buses bad, so I'm all good with that. I think we also need,
We need both. We
we
need
need
drivers
buses,
and
we need
buses.
drivers, we need some vans to haul people, kids to them smaller sports, we need all that, but we need buses to get kids to school.
Ms. Hill?
I just want to point out, the ones who are making $10 an hour, that is only for trips. We don't have just bus drivers making minimum wage. That, most of them are well above that.
Are they?
That would be.
Well, now, I wouldn't drive no trip for $10 an hour either.
To go on the trips, yes.
Yeah.
Sub-bus drivers, yes.
Yeah.
It is, right at $10, a little over $10 an hour, but, your regular bus drivers are not making $10 an hour.
Okay,
Thank you for that, Mrs. Hill.
yeah.
Yes.
We can pull that information for you.
Do what now?
We can pull that information for you.
What I'd like to do, I'd like to see a comparison of the counties around us, of our bus drivers and theirs.
We can look at their salaries.
You know what I'm saying by that? I just think we ought to be competitive with them anyway. Because if you could leave from here and go to Perry and make $5 or $6 more an hour, then, you know what I'm saying? I just think that we need to look at that.
Well, but to do that, that is negotiated.
I know.
So it goes back to
Yeah,
the union has to agree, if you want to just address one group of people,
Right.
it's not gonna go well.
oh, I know, but I know all of them, all school personnel has a tremendous job, I understand that, but I do understand the driving of buses, when you got that precious
Big
cargo behind you,
It's,
you know what I'm saying?
They're all behind.
And they all behind you.
yeah, there is.
And you trying to
You
look,
can't see 'em.
and you trying to look in a mirror to see them, and you run over a car, and then you done for life, then it's over. You might as well go on to the house.
Something you also need to consider when you're comparing salaries like that,
In Madison County, the board has graciously made sure that the bus drivers that work 4 hours a day get full benefits.
Yeah,
And in a lot of Yeah. districts, they don't do that because they can
Right.
save them part-time.
Right, well, I mean, that's one thing I'd like to know is if they are, if they're not, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I appreciate your input on that, because it's not our job to give people a raise. In other
Right.
words, we don't do that. That has to be negotiated. And it's very good to have the people attend our meetings to let us know the facts. I appreciate you being here.
And it's good also to compare with other districts so you can see in black and white what. So if they're saying this, you can say, well, they're saying that their salary is this, and it's really not that. And we pay 100% of the insurance
Right.
for,
Right.
and I don't know that other districts may do that. So it's a lot of, you have to look at the whole picture of it. But
That's right.
no, I agree with you also, Mr. Carroll. The one thing that, we'll go ahead and take the vote on this. It's been properly moved by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Ms. Williamson. Is there any more discussion? If there's no more discussion, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval. The one question, and maybe Ms. Joseph has gotten back to us, when we brought up a couple weeks ago concerning Ms. Cootie with her, what was ever like decided with
I'm
that?
working on getting a leave of absence form from Mr. Johnson, because I cannot put two people in one position. Okay, when I get a leave of absence form completed by him and to the board, then I can advertise it, but I cannot advertise a position when somebody's already in there.
Does that, if he's on a, does the leave absent form, does
I
that
can do a
affect his
leave
insurance in
fill-in.
any way?
Nope. I'll verify that.
We just don't want to do anything that's going to jeopardize.
I've been in discussion with him about that, and one other thing, we did order 3 buses back in March or April. They are, quote, scheduled to be in January. Okay, but y'all know how things are being delivered around here, and we hope they're here in January.
So I think we're gradually replenishing the fleet, because we've bought buses before that too, since I've been on the board.
Well, they go down quickly. I
So,
mean,
yeah, I know,
Yes.
they get a lot of miles on them.
Yeah, one of the newer ones, someone was complaining about the other night. So time passes, and we have bought them in the past, but it's probably over time for us to buy new ones.
Oh, yes, no, I agree,
Maybe.
But
yes.
going back to the comments, someone has been down there, in the bus shop helping Ms. Cootie with the work. She's not down there by herself. It's not that full time, but she's got someone down there, to help her with the paperwork.
That's good.
Okay, the next item, 5.6, is discussion of space at Madison County High School for possible 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th, and 12th.
Okay, you asked me to talk to Mr. Finley and see did the high school have the capacity to hold possibly house the 7th and 8th graders next year. And what I've given you, you got it. These are the room numbers he has. And you got the possible enrollment for 7th grade for next year's 140 students, 8th grade 140 students, 9th grade 150 students, 10th grade 140 students, 11th grade 110 students, 12th grade 110 students. And what he did, he took each room and put a number on it, the capacity, and come up with 1,000 students. But what I did after talking with Ms. Hill, she'd been out there, even though, for example, the media room down at the bottom, he's got students listed in there. Those are really not classrooms, so I had to subtract out those. And so the school really have a capacity of 835 plus whatever you put in the gym as a class, not the capacity of a gym, but each period your gym has a class, and so however many they would put in that class. And so looking at that, if you've got a capacity of 835 students and you got 700, or possibly 790, it will be a tight fit. Maybe someone may have to have a class in their room during planning time, but that's roughly what we have. Is that answering your question? So we're not looking at a capacity of 1,000 students, we're looking at a capacity of maybe 835 students.
That's not counting the gym?
Not counting the gym as a class,
As
will
a
be
classroom.
another 25 students.
I got you.
And that doesn't leave you much wiggle room. Now, some classes, you can't have 25 in there. And actually, the ratio for 7th and 8th graders is 1 to 22 rather than 1 to 25.
Now, some of these students would be dual enrolled, so they wouldn't be there part of the day, right? Or
It depends. There may be a time when all the students are on campus at that time, and also remember, we have students coming in from James Madison in there. So if you may want to, if you're willing to double up some classes and let people stay in their offices and have a dual purpose classrooms, you can hold them comfortably,
Well,
but that's what you have.
I would think that classrooms that are labs would probably go to lab classroom.
Okay, yes, that's why I had to subtract some numbers away from that. That's why I told you you don't have capacity for 1,000. Those lab classrooms, I took those classrooms off.
For the classrooms that are just 15, what was that, I mean, what, because that's not even a number that the high school would even, you wouldn't have 15 to 1.
No, those are those classrooms, like a lab classroom, like, for example, Ms. Good's class, she's got a big classroom, but she's got a little lab room in between. And a long time ago, that's the old home ec room where they had the little classroom. They had the 2 labs in the classroom. That's one of those rooms in between, which we took out the computation because that really should not be a separate class because they would have to enter through another class even to get in there. And that's why those numbers were removed. Those 165 slots were removed.
Like the 3 that are marked media, those are rooms on the side of the library.
yeah, I know where they.
And they created 3 of those in basically what used to be the Career Center at one time. They broke it into 3 so that they would have the Polycom dual enrollment classes. And so, and that way there would only be, 8 or 10 students in there at one time doing those online classes. Some of those, one of those is the old, the newer Career Center.
Is that being used now?
No, it is not.
Not for a classroom, they have go in, a certain group would go in there and use it, but it's not large enough for a full-size class.
Right.
And there's no classes in any of the labs?
Are you talking about science labs?
Yeah.
There, yes, well, okay, so like Ms. Phillips, when she teaches biology, she goes down to a different room to teach biology. And so that's a lab class. There's a chemistry lab, and then she also has just a regular classroom, which, I mean, she wouldn't be necessarily in all 3 of those. She may have to stay in one of those.
All right. Yeah, when I was in school, we had our biology in a lab, and to say how old I am, Jean Stokes was the teacher.
So that's why we counted 2 of those rooms that could be used.
So then, if we did use them, that would add number to this.
Well,
No, they already they
Yeah.
counted in there as being
Okay.
available.
Right.
So they're in the 8,
Yes, they're in the 835.
and then the 25 in the gym, 860.
Yes. But we've got to take into account, 7th and 8th grade class ratio is 1:22 rather than 1:25.
So how many students we have out there now at the high school?
About 450.
So we think we're gonna gain,
We're not going to gain.
Okay,
gonna
I've got
gain-
the projected enrollment for each class for next year. If we took the 7th and 8th graders, I listed by class.
The senior classes are only 100 and, I think, 106. The
This-
junior class is like 110.
it's amazing how they start out. In the ninth grade, you got 150, and time you get to a senior, it's 106. They drop off somewhere.
And you got to remember, we have students coming from James Madison. I don't know whether we're going to have any coming from creative arts. But thus, these numbers are not included in here. And I don't know how many come over there.
Only ones comes the band, right?
Band and football.
Football goes out to the field
Send
house.
kids down for.
So, the band,
But there's nobody coming for classes.
No, so that wouldn't affect.
We won't tell the band teacher we don't come out of class.
Well, I mean, academic.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah.
Do you need some additional information?
No, I guess we just need to see what's our next step will be, because time is of the essence, so to speak, in that we need to have a decision for the 6th grade, I would say soon, and then we need a decision for the 7th and 8th to go along with the 6th, because based on the meeting that I went to, parents are going to want to know what their option is. And that was one of the reasons we were waiting to say about 6, is that to say what we were going to do, if anything, with 7th or 8th. If we had the space at that point, we didn't know that we had the space, really was unsure of what the capacity was at the high school. I knew that the numbers had dropped, really unsure to what degree. Not dropped, the stations had dropped, the student stations had dropped. It would be a good thing if our numbers were up in 7th and 8th, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what are the other board members thinking?
I'm going to go back to the 6, because that is part of the elementary school, and it requires one teacher, a 6th grade, an elementary teacher. So that's a simple,
Right.
there's nothing too complicated with that. I mean, you put another teacher in there to teach, I could teach 6th grade, it's.
It's on your certificate.
Yes, it's, if you're an elementary teacher, you can do that, yes.
But again, going back to, I know that the lottery for, or sign up for creative arts, I think is February the 1st, and we need to have something before that time where parents will know what their options are, before they decide what they're going to do. I see that it could be close, like in capacity. The next thing that I would think that we may need to do is I know that the principal and all has looked into it, but maybe go to a school that's close by to look at that school to see if we have the chance to, at the high school, do what that school has done in setting up their campus and structuring it where the different grade levels could be as separated as they can be. I know that Mayo is a school district that's rather close to us that has middle school with the high school, and that would be one that would probably be a good.
Does Hamilton do that?
They do.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
Hamilton and Lafayette?
but their school is, different, you know, how, it's not one big building.
Okay.
They have it where the high school's on one side of the campus
okay.
and
Okay.
the middle school's on the other side.
Right, well, Lafayette's all together.
I mean, that maybe would be a good close starting point to see if, like, the next request for information, just to see if they think they can do it. I mean,
And Lafayette's been named the top.
it's a
district
top
in the
school.
state of
It's a
Florida.
top district, yeah. Although that, it looks like we would have the space, it may be close with like numbers, but I think the next step is just to see from the high school standpoint, do they think it can be done? They've said that we have the space where we could, but again, with looking at and speaking to their principal in Mayo, of what the logistics of what they go through, do we think we could do it?
Ms. Hill, how many openings do we have to leave available for people that moves into the county?
You don't have to too much worry about that. We've been declining enrollment for 20 years.
Yeah, I think after looking at this, yes, there's space. Is it space that everybody would be excited about? Not necessarily. Isaac was telling me there are some of these rooms they don't use because of when the school was rebuilt, there's some sound carrying issue. Explain that?
Well, some of the rooms that are side by side, they're designed in such a way that it's mostly glass dividing them.
Yes.
So you can really hear between the two classes. And that they don't generally put two classes next to each other. Because
So we've got classrooms that are unusable.
I hope
With a
not,
$14 million
after what it costs to
renovation,
build
we
it.
have the classrooms unusable.
They're usable, but they're divided by a pane of glass.
So you can hear in both rooms whatever going on in each room.
there's very low, the walls don't control the sound very well in that area.
Good. What could you do to help remedy that? I know they make those drapes that are sound
Yeah,
drapes.
I don't know, hard to say.
Yeah, I didn't know why they didn't use them. I just knew they didn't use them. But, there may be something we can do there. The big thing to think about is as far as trying to separate middle school kids from high school kids. That's going to take some creative thinking. Just because you have certain classrooms that have to be in certain areas, you've got your career tech classes that are, have to be on that wing.
Your science classes.
Your science labs, we probably have to do some crossover there. But it would take some creative thinking outside the box.
When I visited the high school and walked around it, it's going to be very, very challenging to keep those students separate.
Because there's not a wing per se you can put any one group on.
Right.
But
How do
is
we
it that
go
bad
about
to have
setting
them
up
together? I mean, it's central, it's just not like they
It's just
can't
you're
have,
going to keep you're going to have really young kids with a lot of older,
but it's central is pre-K through 8th, and they're not,
but
they're,
you're dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids with, how old the 7th graders are? 12, 13-year-old.
But many, I'm not saying many, but we can look on the school improvement plan of how many's been retained 2 times. And so instead of an 8th grader, you have a 10th grader with kindergartners. So we really can't go by the age thing because we have a lot of students who have been retained, so.
I would be really concerned if my daughter was that young to be placed at the high school with an 18-year-old. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
I understand the concern because I have parents who are concerned about their kindergartner going to school with a 16-year-old at Central School. I mean, 15.
I think they kind of keep them a little more separate because of how the buildings are. I mean, that's just, I mean, around the Central School, you could keep them more separate than at the high school when you're confined into
But you
one
have
building.
common areas at Central, the lunchroom
yes, they're
and
together.
cafeteria.
But they go
and-
in at different times, like, they
How do we
don't,
all-
we don't have the kindergartens in there with the eighth graders.
Oh, I've taught there, and I taught there before I went to the high school. And they are on the sidewalk together, coming and going from the cafeteria and the library. They get together.
So they be in the lunchroom together?
But remember, students are supervised at all times.
They're not
Not
together
eating,
anymore.
I mean, when I would leave the cafeteria, they would be waiting to come in and all that.
They keep them very
Well,
separate from one
I'm
another.
talking about when I was there now, so we'll, yeah.
How do we go
But
about
aren't
setting
students
up
supposed to be
visit
separate, supervised at all
County?
times?
They are supposed to be supervised
I
at
thought
all
that's
times,
what
but
we
you know,
do
a lot
in
of
school.
times, like in the high school, you have the adults
You don't have
moving
supervision,
in different
you don't
directions. I
have
mean, you know, like the ones that are leaving, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's more movement in the halls at the high school than it is at the elementary. And I might be wrong, and I think teachers are more eyes on the students at the elementary than they do at the high school.
At the elementary, they walk them to the lunchroom, but at the high school, they don't walk them to
They
the
don't
cafeteria.
do that at the high school, because I work at the high school, I know that those students, yeah, when they're at the high school level, they feel like they're more responsible than the ones at the at the elementary school and the middle school.
Well, we have many
Yes, ma'am.
schools around here that are,
Ms. Rainick has something to say.
I'm not as aware of the facility itself at the high school, but a lot of schools around the state that have combined the high school and the middle school, they separate the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders together and make that kind of like a transition academy. So I'm not sure if that facility could handle something like that or not. That might help with the problem of keeping the older kids away from the less old kids.
Now, in Hamilton County, they just voted to pull the 6th graders over to the high school, but they got the 6th, 7th, and 8th, they got their own section. And then it got 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th, got their own section. And then there's the lunchroom in between them two, and the main office in between them two. So there are two different areas on this side and this side.
How do we go about visiting Lafayette County?
we would go there and,
You
After
ask the
school.
principal
principals
to
and
call,
the superintendent, can you come over?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's something for us to look into, seeing that we have so many schools around here that are doing that configuration. And,
Yeah, and
I'm
that's
sure they've
I
run
think
it.
that's a really good county to
Are
look
they
at. I mean,
doing?
Right.
really, they are the #1 county in the
And
state
then their
of Florida.
schools might be designed different from our high school, so we do really need to go and look. The way they got it set up might be totally different.
From the
Yes.
road, but I don't know what
it's
it's
appropriate for me to say anything, but I was just going to say that you need to also look at, some of those schools we're talking about were built that way. They were built
Right.
anticipating that there were going to be two groups and it would keep them separated, and how that is. I know that's what they did in Jasper.
Yeah.
Right.
They knew that that was going to be set up there, so it was built and designed that way to keep those kids away from each other.
Well, unfortunately, our new design, our old design probably would have easily handled it, but we lost a lot of space with the new design, unfortunate.
So, Mr. Alford, am I hearing that the board would like to visit Lafayette County High School?
I would, just to see like what their principal is doing, and if our administration think we could do that.
Okay, just you or the entire board, because I have to advertise it, if it's more than you attend.
I'm not saying that I go. I said for the principal to go.
Oh, you want the principal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm not the principal at the high school. The principal and those administrators need to maybe go and talk to that principal and administration to see where they would think.
Okay, so my next step is to get with the high school principal and ask him to set up a visit at Mayo, to do a visit to look at the layout, how they are accommodating grades 7 through 12.
And if they may go younger than 7th, I don't know, but any ideas their principal may have, I've only heard good things about their school system and principal there at Mayo, so.
Ms. Joseph, you also can ask for a layout, so that you could probably give a copy to all of us. Like Hamilton County has a layout of their school showing this is the element.
Yes, ma'am.
And you could probably ask them for a layout of their school, so we'll know exactly where students are at all times at that school.
Okay, how soon would you like this to happen?
I would think that we need to, as soon as we can, because I would think that we need to go to the outlying schools either right when we come back the first of the year, where we can have that established as soon as we can, or possibly even in December go to some of the outlying schools if we had decided on the 6th grade.
Okay, at one of our previous meetings, you were supposed to tentatively set dates for you to visit each school as a group.
I think we need to do that because Creative Arts is drawing is the 1st of February, from what I was told.
So you want to
So we need to make
schedule
some
some dates
decisions.
for,
I think we need to do it before that because that's contingent on a lot of people deciding what they're going to do.
We have a schedule of when each one of those schools has their PTO meeting?
I think they will accommodate you whenever you
Yeah.
can. So when will you be available, because we have to advertise it? And what I'm hearing is the board will be going as a group to each one of the schools.
I think that that's a good idea. We did that before back with, when we stopped door-to-door pickup and we went, and I don't think we need to go there for a meeting because that would be too much to ask to do. But I do think we need to go for a meeting at all the schools because the night I was there, they have a lot of questions, and I feel that possibly the visit to Mayo needs to occur before we go to any, so we have a preliminary idea of what's going to go on. I mean, what they're saying, can 6th, 7th, and 8th go or not?
I can ask Mr. Finley to get that visit before the December, when's that December meeting?
6th.
December 6th.
Ms. Joseph, I just had a copy of, this is how it looks for Hamilton County.
Okay.
The section, you can get
Okay,
a copy of
I'll
something
get
like
that.
that.
Do you have to, can't you make the decision on 6th grade before you have to make a decision on 7th and 8th?
I think we can.
We can, but what the parents are saying is that it's still, 7th and 8th is going to drive a lot of what they do for 6th. Because when spots come open, then they're having to go, not meaning that they really want to go, but they feel forced to go. So if they knew there was an option for 7th and 8th, based on what we were told in Lee, when Ms. Joseph and I were there, that they would make different options. So we almost need to be presenting some other choice or option for them, because that's the whole issue.
And we also need to understand that, James, that Creative Arts is at capacity. Yes, the 8th graders are leaving, so how many 8th graders do they have? And that's basically the slots they're gonna have.
In the newspaper, it said they were going up to 440-something stations,
Okay, they're adding 4K,
but they're at 3-something right now.
354.
But they wouldn't have that many more.
I need to look at
3
their
pairs.
contract because I didn't realize they were adding that many kids.
That's what the newspaper said, it was up to 400 and something stations.
Okay, I need to look at their contract.
I mean, that would be a lot of kids.
I'd like to have Mr. Finley come to the board meeting after he gets his information and
Right.
maybe have a plan for the high school if it can work out. In other words, just give us the information.
Which meeting, December 6th or December 20th?
I would rather 6 if we could, I mean, I know that doesn't give much time, but,
I'll ask him he may have to come back on the 20th, but I will have him scheduled for the 6th.
to see, And like Ms. Hill said, we don't have to, I mean, sixth grade can be done immediately. That's our decision. No DOE approval or what have you, but again, that was the issue, was seventh and eighth. Needing to, I mean, the parents are very wanting an option other than what they have. I mean, that's the issue.
I think Mr. Finley has to go check it out, get whatever information, see if it's feasible at the high school.
I don't know a whole lot about, because I don't have a layout, but with the numbers and it said vacant, you know, number-wise, you know, 790 is less than 835, but the way those rooms are, and, you know, you got 15, you know, that's in the little old, you know, you couldn't put nobody in
Those were
there
taken out
anyway.
the equation.
Huh?
Those rooms of 15, they were taken out the equation.
You took all them out?
That's when I subtracted the 165 at the bottom.
It was for them? But, so that don't leave you very many rooms then.
And you can always share a room, use a room during somebody's planning period. And let them go and stay in their office. You can always share a room.
It's just unfortunate that at one point we paid all this money to have a renovation and wound up with less space. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, hindsight's 20/20.
I don't think you actually had the option though of keeping those stations, because remember the money we were getting, you had to provide a plan to DOE of how you were going to service the kids that you've actually got now.
Yep.
And so they would have built us a brand new school at that lower number, or we could renovate the school we had at that low
But-
number, but I don't think there was an option.
But with
of-
having glass between rooms, we
Well,
have the
that-
option of not having
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And not having rooms for 15. That's not even a class size
Right.
mandate at the high school level. I mean, that's a waste of space.
So
I mean-
they had an option to build a new school?
It's gonna be small.
There's basically two options. Because of our declining enrollment, the thought was that DOE probably would approve a brand-new school. It would be considerably smaller than the high school. Or they would take about that same money and renovate the high school. But again, you would have to have fewer student stations and all of that. You're going to end up with fewer student stations there regardless with my.
Because of the decline of students?
Because of the declining enrollment.
Yeah.
You just couldn't justify more stations. Now, had we thought about this and said, hey, what if y'all built us, you know, what if we add seventh and eighth? You know, I don't think anybody thought about that at the time.
It's just unfortunate. So what we're looking at is for the high school administration to possibly go to Mayo to observe their high school, speak with their principal to see logistically if possibly we could do it, could make it work at our high school, and then he'll come back to us and we can decide from that point of where we're going. I mean, we know that sixth graders, we have the space at the three outlying schools, but again, when we go for the meetings at the school sites, we need to know at that point, what's our plan for the high school, because that's what they're going to ask. And if you don't have that, then it's going to be just an endless conversation of, well, we're going to have to look into that. I mean, we need to have facts when we go.
Well, should we make dates for us, or is it too early to do that?
Well, we could make dates. Let's wait until Mr. Finley comes back, and then at that point, we can make dates from when we want to go to like Lee, Pinetta, Greenville, and Central. And I would just like to do it all like in January if we could.
And we could, because we could do a couple a week. We could actually do all three a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
I would like to go to do it in January where we could go ahead and make the decision before it comes up time to, for the lottery or whatever they have. And then hopefully on the 6th, we will have some affirmation or some type of clarity of what if the high school can handle it or if they can't. I mean, we know we have extra seats, but again, we don't know logistic-wise whether it still could work or not. Does that please the board?
Yes. Fine.
Okay, so, we're going to see if the principal can come the 6th, Ms. Joseph?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next one, the rite of passage, 5.7, the rite of passage contract, Mr. Reeves?
Yes, sir. If you look on page 2, and it's paragraph 2B, they've got a dispute resolution paragraph there that's to use the Administrative Procedures Act. And then on page 17, Roman numeral 9.2, they've got a different dispute resolution paragraph. I think that was a typo. What I would recommend is if y'all are going to approve it, but delete everything after the first sentence in paragraph 9.2, and that'll make it consistent.
Okay, repeat that again, delete everything after.
After the first sentence in 9.2, so, and I'm sorry, delete
That's 11.
all of 9, I'm sorry, 11, you're right, can't read my Roman numerals, can I? Delete everything in 11.2 except the first sentence.
Okay.
And that'll make the dispute resolution consistent.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the rite of passage contract, deleting everything in 11.2 except for the first sentence?
I'll make the motion to approve the rite of passage contract with those changes.
Okay, it's been properly moved by Ms. Williamson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. Is there any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for approval of the rite of passage contract. Okay, item 6.1, superintendent items.
Superintendent items, I have put something at your desk. Unfortunately, the Central School had a little hiccup with their football team, and they were playing several kids that were academically ineligible. And Mr. Williams self-reported to the Florida High School Athletic Association, and their penalty was a monetary fine, and they had to forfeit all their games. That was for the Central School football team. And I was just sharing that information with you.
It's so unfortunate.
Okay,
That's all I have.
okay, thank you. Attorney items.
Yes, sir, we have as you recall, we have a lawsuit with rite of passage on a contract from several years ago. We have a mediation set for this Thursday. A mediation is basically a settlement conference where we'll be talking about trying to settle the case. As this is a public body, we can't officially settle the case at the mediation. The best we can do there is come up with a proposed settlement that we can bring back to you all at an open meeting and you can look at and possibly approve. The superintendent and I will be attending the mediation. It will be conducted by Zoom, so we'll just be in my office. But it will occur on Thursday, and hopefully we'll get the case settled and can put it behind us.
Okay.
And that's all I have, unless y'all have questions.
Yes, sir. Board member items, Mr. Carroll.
I wanted to bring up, I went to the game Friday, and the condition of that field is ridiculous. It's embarrassing to host a playoff game with the field was from the 35 to the 35 in the middle wasn't nothing but sand. They had to put sand out there to cover the holes up. And it's just, and it's not really safe. There was talk not even to let us play from the officials because of that. I know when Coach McPherson was there, Mr., dang, I knew his name before I said anything, but anyway, he worked at the high school, you know, he done the maintenance, and he took care of it. When I was there, Mr. Bussey, from the golf course, he helped me a bunch with that. It's something other that, you know, it can't be a coach's responsibility to top dress a field and all that kind of thing. But that field has to have some maintenance. It can't just go. You can mow it, but has to have maintenance on it from somewhere. So, but it's pretty embarrassing. We got probably one of the top athletic programs, not only football, but baseball, basketball, softball in the state of Florida. And our facility looks like that. It's just not, it's not fair to our kids to have to play on that stuff.
Mr.
It's just not
Carroll,
fair.
in most school districts, whose responsibility is it to maintain that?
In most school, I mean, it's the maintenance department that does it. That, you know, what was his name? He passed away with cancer out there at the high school when Randy was there. He done it for years and years.
Danny.
Mr. Malden.
Danny Malden.
Mr. Malden. He done it for years and years and years. And then, like I said, when I was there, Mr. Bussey was at the golf course, and he helped a lot. He came down and done a lot of stuff for us. And so, and then Clarence was out there, and he done a lot. But it's just you can't expect it if nobody does any maintenance on it.
Right. Well, nothing will hold up.
It won't hold up. So anyway,
Who's
that was.
doing the mowing now?
I think Mike and them mow it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with coaches mowing it, but they can't be held responsible for.
So maintenance, you're meaning like fertilizing it?
Fertilizing, top dressing, you know.
Do we even have equipment to do that?
What?
Do
No,
we even
you
have
don't. You don't have it. You have to get somebody to do it. You know, you have to get a company to do it. We got a guy out of Tallahassee to come and do it.
Don't they have the
But,
funds to do that, to hire someone?
Who?
The,
Athletics?
yes.
No. Athletics can't pay for that. And buses and everything else, they can't do that.
We pay for half of those buses.
Huh?
We pay for half of those
Well, you
buses.
pay for half of them, but I mean, that's half of them. They should be paying for all of them. It ought not to be left at the athletics to pay for buses.
So what made the sand come? Just lack of water maybe, or?
No, they had to put sand out there to cover the hole. Somebody went out there and threw sand on it.
But I mean, what made the hole,
What made the hole?
just not,
you know, just wear and tear and
not filling it up when you have?
you know, wear and tear. It takes, you have to aerate that field, with that kind of grass. You have to aerate, and then you drag it, and then you fertilize it. Then it's
It's just a lot of steps.
It's a lot of steps to do it, and you keep it watered, but anyways.
Well, there's no more.
Was you there Friday, Bart?
No, I wasn't. Will there be any more? There's not any.
There's no
home
more games there. No, it's over. No.
So now is probably the time to work on it.
It is, because
Well,
it
yeah,
takes a
some-
while to
some-
get
some-
it. I mean, you
some
can't just fix it
custodians, we don't
overnight
have
because it's
enough
got to
custodians
grow.
at any school. We're not fully staffed for custodians at
Right.
any school.
Well, just like with the football field, the baseball field, the softball fields, they should continuously be worked on
Right.
all year round, and then you're not gonna have
You know,
an issue when it's.
You got parents that help out with baseball. I talked to some of them, they was out there questioning me about why they have to do all the stuff they do. But, you know, in a sport like baseball, generally, you know, I don't know how to say this. I'm not gonna say anything.
Well, I mean,
Players wise.
in baseball and softball, they have to keep the fields cut, but it's just different. I don't
It's
know
a
that there's as
different-
many steps
No,
as you have in
there's,
football.
it's not as much wear and tear
Right.
on a,
It's not as many players.
Out
Right.
there, yeah.
Carry it out.
and, you know.
Wallering
it's just-
around and.
Right, it's just not, but that, I mean, that, you know, the tennis courts are terrible too, you know, you can't play tennis out there, not really, it hits a stick and bounces the other way.
Again, we need to do a better job keeping all of our
We ju-
things up all year round.
we have to have a maintenance plan for our facilities, that's just, I mean, it has to happen in order to have great facilities,
Right.
or even mediocre facilities. But when a referee is discussing before the game whether you can play on it safely or not, then it's time to, you know, that's an issue to me. It is for me. So anyway, but after that, I appreciate all our people, all our employees. They work hard and, you know, for our kids. And that's what school's about, our kids.
We probably need to see of what it would cost for a company that would do that type of stuff. I mean, there are stuff we could do like fertilizing and that type of stuff, but we don't have the machines or the equipment for doing some of the things
No,
that you
we
were
don't.
saying.
We used to have a top dresser out there. We used to, because when I was there, the Booster Club bought one, but it's not there anymore. I don't know where it's at, but
Right.
it was old then, you know, you know, Mr. Jay Johnson and them, they used one of their trucks to haul us some sand from somewhere. We bought the sand, they hauled it out there, and then a guy from Tallahassee, a lawns, you know, one that does that kind of thing. We contracted him to put it out and drag it in and all that kind of thing.
I mean, it would be interesting to see how much it would be because I do think if you're going, it needs to be something that, if you're going to expect to have grass, you have to like work with the grass all year long,
Right.
not just during football season or.
Yeah, because it
It-
won't
it
have time to
takes-
grow.
it
It's got
takes-
to grow. You got
It
to
takes
nourish it all.
fertilizing it about 4 times a year. It takes herbicide, you know, weed stuff about 3 times a year, and then it takes aerating it a couple times a year, and then dragging it in, and you know, that sort of
It's a
thing.
process.
Yeah, it's a process.
Okay, is that all, Mr. Carroll?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Bell?
I would like to say congratulations to all of the schools for having a successful Veterans Day program. I would also like to congratulate the Cowboys for their win on Friday night, and they're on the road to the championship. I would like to say thank you to Mr. Rod Williams and Mr. Finley for the updated information about our schools. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Gibson?
Yes, I had the pleasure of visiting 2 elementary schools to view their Veterans Day program, Pinetta and Madison County Central School. I know the veterans felt well respected during those programs. I want to thank the Madison County High School students for serving their community at the Pinetta Fall Festival, which I also attended that. It was a great job done by all. And I'd like to congratulate Mr. Alfred on becoming a certified school board member.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ms. Williamson?
I too would like to thank all of our employees for all the hard work that they do and the way that they impact the children's lives here in our district. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Alford for becoming a certified board member. I would also like to congratulate Mr. Alford for being named Teacher of the Year in Taylor County in his school.
Thank you. Thank you. I too would like to thank all the veterans and their service for our country, all the schools who recognize the veterans. I recently went to the League PTO meeting the other night and went to the legislative delegation meeting here at the courthouse with Senator Osley when she was here. I want to thank Ms. Pinkinson with the Florida School Board Association for coming tonight and all that she does for our district and has done in the past. I also would like to congratulate our football team and all the student athletes that are participating in the fall sports, and wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And that's all I have. Is there a motion to adjourn for an expulsion hearing?
I made the motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn for an expulsion hearing. It's been properly moved by Ms. Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gibson. All those in favor, show of hand, please. 5-0, Ms. Bishop, for dismissal for the expulsion hearing.